am in the Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid. It's a plug-in hybrid and it's a Turbo S, and it answers the question, what if you had one car that had to do absolutely everything? I mean everything. Road trips, running errands, going to the racetrack, and getting good mileage and commuting in the city. What if for unlimited money, you had a car that had to do every single thing? Porsche has, I think, answered that question with this. And the for any money is an important part because this car starts at around $250,000. As you see it, this car is over $300,000. Now, usually in my notes, I like to talk about power and specs, and we're gonna get there, but in this car, I think the story is the options. So first of all, let's talk about the free things in this car. The eye-catching Provence paint is actually no cost. That is rare for Porsche. Usually it's a lot of extra cost paints. Also, this interior is like Lewis Hamilton in that it is vegan, uses no leather. Cloth seats in a $300,000 car are really kind of interesting, and I like it. Cloth can feel premium, and I like these Pepita pattern seats in the car, and it's nice to see automakers doing things other than leather. Be creative. We have an exterior sport design package in black, which is like front bumper, rear bumper, different cutouts and stuff like that. That is $7,500. That is so expensive. A lot of it's actually pretty reasonable. Ceramic brakes for $1,000, insulated glass for $1,500, night vision assist for $2,800, and park assist for $2,500, and you get a little passenger display screen for $1,900. The Sport Chrono package is standard on the Turbo S in Canada, which means the performance of this car is astonishing. 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds, which is just a tenth slower than the Porsche 911 Turbo S. That's bananas. That's an actual sports car, and this is a full 4-seat sedan. I remind you, doing it a tenth less than Porsche's top dog 911 straight line car. That's crazy. It also has a top speed of over 200 miles per hour, and it can run a quarter mile in 10.8 seconds. This is a sedan. Under hood, we have a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 that makes 590 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. But it is coupled to an electric motor that makes 331 pound-feet of torque. Adding those two together isn't as simple as just taking the numbers. It's a bit more complicated, but what's important is that it makes 771 horsepower and 737 pound-feet of torque. That's a lot of numbers out of the way, but look at this beautiful scenery. It's time to go drive this thing, and I can tell you what it's like behind the wheel. Now, as you can see by all the traffic going around us, it is Monterey Car Week at its busiest. So we're not really gonna be tapping into the performance of this car, but we have driven it on a racetrack previously. This is more a real world test, if you will. And here's what that real world horsepower feels like. Head against the seat. It's just crazy. This car is so fast. Now, like I was saying, I think the interesting part of this car is not just the raw power. That V8 makes 590 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque, but that's not the whole show. With the electric assist, we're looking at 771 horsepower and 730 pound-feet of torque. But it's not just that. The fact is that when you're not foot to the floor, it's just a really, really luxurious experience. In fact, the active suspension of this car is so advanced, it'll like rise up to greet you when you open the doors. I have it in sport mode right now, which is pretty comfortable as well. But like, this car really does do everything. Like I said, one of our other editors did drive this car on the racetrack a couple months ago, and you know, it's a full 4-seat sedan. It's racetrack capable and doesn't lack for a single luxury option. I have quad zone climate control in this car, optional. I have seating for 4 people to ride very comfortably, and like, it's just a absolutely consummate experience. And I like that it has a V8. The Taycan is equally fast, but there's something about being able to pull a paddle, hear the motor rev. And I think as things go EV, we're gonna be enjoying more of these hybrid experiences. In fact, this car can go 87 miles per hour on electric power alone because it is a plug-in hybrid. That also means you get really, really good efficiency when you don't want to put your foot down. And when you do, that electric motor, instead of working for efficiency, works for power, helping you pull out of corners even faster than you ever thought possible. Now, a lot of the options on this car are not strictly performance related. The Turbo SE Hybrid comes standard with Sport Chrono. The Americans, that's optional for them. But that means you get the full performance gamut right off the bat. So that's 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.8 seconds. Not only is that like Bugatti territory, that's only a tenth slower than Porsche's 911 Turbo S. That is bonkers considering that this is a full 4-seat car, not a 2-door. Not that we could exploit that performance today with the traffic and everything, but it does have a top speed of 202 miles per hour with the correct tires, and it'll run the quarter mile in 10.8 seconds. It's absolutely bananas. But again, I think I just keep coming back to the fact that it's more than the power. This is a car that you truly can live with every day if you can afford it. This car starts in Canada with a base price around $257,000, but nice. But there will be no base cars. Nobody's going to just buy this car straight ticket MSRP. Most of the cars are going to come, as you see it here, with a ton of options. This car has $24,000 in options, which brings the total price, once you add delivery and the fees and all that, to over $300,000. And really, that's where these are going to be. This is a $300,000 car, realistically. But for that money, you get a car that can do absolutely everything. If I had a nit to pick, I would say that it's so good at absolutely everything, and at being smooth, and at being quiet, and at being comfortable, that unless you are like on it, you know, pulling the paddles, pressing the gas, and really going for it, it's not that exciting to drive. All right, now seeing as there's a bunch of traffic, I have clicked it from Sport into E mode, and I'm gonna show you what the electric mode is like to drive, because that's kind of the fun of a plug-in hybrid, is you get two cars. You get the gas and you get the electric. All right, so here we go. Completely in electric power. The engine is not doing anything at all. Now, there is also like a hybrid mode, which kind of, you know, uses the gas and the electric for mass efficiency, but sometimes I like the option of just driving around in electric power, which this car affords you. Now, we've been driving pretty aggressively, so the electric range here is not great, but a more realistic set of electric range that you could expect will be displayed on the screen here. Now, one of the cool options this car has is the thermally and acoustically insulated glass. It really does kind of isolate you from the experience. And when you're driving electric mode, this thing is so relaxing to drive. Now that we're sitting here waiting for this one lane, we have a bunch of things we can configure within the screen. We have our chassis, which can be set to normal, sport, or sport plus. We also have our drive level, which goes to low, lowered, normal, and lift. Lift to aid egress, lowered for aerodynamics, and better center of gravity. The fact that it reacts so quickly is what makes this car so flexible in different driving situations, which is pretty cool. The active suspension is really the key to these cars. You're like, how does that big, heavy car do so much stuff? Usually the answer is active suspension. It allows you to control that mass and without making the car unfathomably uncomfortable. There you have it, the Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid, a car that does pretty much everything for a pretty big price tag. Now, these cars will be arriving to Canada very soon in early 2025, so keep your eyes peeled, and if you are in the segment for a $300,000 sports sedan that can go on the racetrack and go on road trips, you should definitely consider this one because it's definitely a small and rarefied field. For Driving.ca, I'm Clayton Seams, and for more car reviews, don't forget to check our website where you'll also find my full written review of this car.